Yes, sorry. Well, I just had an experience that inspired me to make this video. And I think that it's really beneficial for everyone to see. For those who know the bit about why I cover my camera, the following statement won't come as a surprise. But for those who don't, you're probably going, "What's wrong with you? What are you, blind? Why are you doing that?" Yeah, I am blind. And no, that kind of joke would not bother me. I have actually been totally blind since I was 2 months old. At the time of this video, I'm 27 years old. I was born addicted to heroin. My biological mother, she was quite a trip, and she did that. And so I was actually 2 months premature when I was born, and of course was in the incubator. And I had retinopathy of prematurity, which basically means that my retina is detached. Now, it could have been due to a blow to the head, or it could have been due to too much oxygen, which was very, very common back in 1983. And hopefully it's not as common today. I'm not really sure. But in any case, yeah, I've been totally blind since then. And throughout my life, most people have accepted me just as me. Part of it is because I'm not your stereotypical blind person. I do not look blind, except for my eyes. My eyes, which is why I often wear glasses. Not because they do anything for me, but because people tend to look at my eyes and not actually listen to what I'm saying. That's also the reason for the camera being covered. People were telling me, "Oh, I can't see your face. I can only see half of your face. It's too dark." And I'm just like, you know what? I have things that I want to say, and I want people to listen to me. In any case, so it's not about shame. I do have to add that last part. It's not about shame. When most people meet me, they have several different reactions, and the one that inspired this video was actually made by someone who was a friend of mine on Facebook, never met me in person, has been on my friends list, I don't know, maybe a month, 2 months, and didn't realize that I was blind. And she's a nice person, nothing bad, we didn't have any fights or anything like that. It's just that she sort of took it in a, "Oh my goodness, I didn't know that" way, and, you know, freaked out a little bit. And that's actually a very normal reaction. There are generally two types of reactions that most, well, there are three reactions that most sighted people have. The first is, "Yeah, okay, that's cool, you're blind, alright," and then they just go on with their lives. The second is, "Wow, you're blind, and you go on the computer, and this is so incredibly cool, and you must have super hearing," and you know, like, seeing me basically as a superhuman. Which is untrue, by the way. I do personally happen to believe that as blind people, because we cannot use the sense of sight, our other senses aren't so much enhanced in the medical sense, it's just that we use them more frequently. So I might be able to hear something that a sighted person can't, but that doesn't mean that the sighted person, provided he or she has normal hearing, can't learn to do that. People who meditate, people who hike, people who listen to birds and whatnot, they have enhanced senses of hearing because they do it the same way. Just like people maybe who are into fashion, they might have a better sense of touch because they, along with the looks, they probably have to touch the fabrics and stuff to see, is this smooth, is it rough, is it, you know. So either they'll see me as a superhuman, or they'll fall apart and they'll do what I call the blind pity syndrome. "Oh my goodness, you're blind? I didn't know that. I'm so sorry." And many people will get over that after maybe half an hour, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, you know, I understand, and you are pretty normal," and they'll still find a few things that I do to be interesting or amazing or whatever. But some people, and I don't think that my friend is going to be like this, by the way, she doesn't seem like that type, but some people just, they continue it. Now, I've never met anyone like that personally, but I have heard stories about people who just can't get over the fact that there's a blind person and, you know, she can dress herself and feed herself and go on the computer, you know. You guys really need to get over yourselves. Like, you know, you've known a blind person for a couple of years now, you know, it's about time you accept that. But I think that on the flip side, there are some errors that are made in the blind community. I mean, if I'm asked something in a nice way, of course, I will answer. I don't care. I'll answer any kind of questions that are asked of me. I mean, provided it's done nicely. Now, I've actually had, believe it or not, people on the internet who were very rude, and don't ask me why. They thought I was lying. Oh, you're blind? What kind of bullshit is that? I don't believe you. And then I'd be like, okay, I use a screen reader called NVDA. I have a cane from MaxAids.com. It's the adjustable telescoping cane. I have a Perkins Brailler. I have a Slate and Stylus. Like, what else? What do you want to know? Yeah, I'm blind. No, I have absolutely nothing better to do than to pretend that I'm blind. That's the new trend among 27-year-olds. Cool, I'm blind. No, I mean that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. But getting back to what I was saying about a blind reaction, some blind people are actually very rude and nasty, and it really makes us look bad, and it really bothers me. I mean, 99.9% of the time, when I go out there, I'm not going out as Eleni the blind girl. I'm just going out as me. But when it specifically relates to blindness, like if someone honestly wants to know something, gee, you know, how do you use a computer, or how do you cook, or how do you clean? Of course I'm going to answer where a lot of blind people, why do you have to ask those kind of questions? I'm just like everybody else. And they just get, like, really offended. Guys, that's not a way to get the sighted to understand us. And I know that we need to be advocates for ourselves, but at the same time, if someone wants to help us, we need to take the help. Now, there are a few little guidelines. If you're a sighted person and you ask me, can I help you across the street, and I say yes, thank you, that's good. But if I say no thanks, I'm doing okay, and you see that I am doing okay, you need to let it go and say, oh, okay, you know, no problem. Because if you continuously ask me, I'm going to get annoyed. Especially, you know, okay, that's crossing a street, I can understand it, but like putting on my own coat, yeah, I know how to put, I'm 27 years old, I know how to put on my own coat. Thank you. You know, and they're never, ever, ever, ever grab a blind person. Oh my God. I've never had anyone do that, and if I did, then the person would definitely have a black eye, to say the least. Because that is frightening. I've actually heard of friends who had people do that to them, and I can't even imagine. Just imagine, it's almost like someone trying to rape you. And I know that that's a very strong comparison, but I mean, people who try to rape you usually come from behind you and grab you. So imagine you cannot see someone, all of a sudden this strong grip is on your arm, and someone like drags you across the street. I mean, that's scary. Even if just they touch you and they don't tell you, because remember, even if it's a light touch and you don't mean any harm, we can't see you, the ones who are totally blind. That's my next myth. Not everyone who is blind is totally blind. I am. I don't see light, I don't see shadow, I don't see color, nothing. Most of the people that you see walking down the street, even with a cane or a dog, not all of us have dogs, by the way. I'm a cane user. That does not mean I am unapproachable. Because a lot of people who use canes tend to say, well, people who have dogs, everybody talks to them and they don't talk to us. In any case, not everyone is total, because there are many different degrees of blindness. There are some people who see only a little bit of light or only some shadows, or then there are people way at the other end of the spectrum. Like, I have a friend of mine who can see almost everything, she just can't drive. But she can read regular print, you know. There are people who are slowly losing their vision, so like maybe they have to read large print, and maybe in a few years they won't be able to drive, or they won't be able to see print, and they have to learn something else. So there are many, many different levels, many different experiences. And this is why when I say to people with me, personally, and they say, oh, I'm so sorry that you're blind, I say to them, well, you didn't cause it, because I've been this way since I was 2 months old. You know, you have to understand me. Basically, when a sighted person thinks about being blind, they think, oh my goodness, what must it be like? And the thing that they fail to realize, it would be like if an alien with 4 arms came to you and said, oh my goodness, you only have 2 arms. What is that like? It's normal. That's what I know. I don't know what it's like to have 4 arms. You know, I don't know what it's like to see. So it kind of depends on the situation. like I said, I pretty much do everything normally the way that everyone else does. It's just that I do use some adaptations. I have things that talk, my clock, my computer, just a bunch of different things. I have things in Braille. Not all blind people read Braille. I happen to be one who does. So, you know, yeah, I do use some, you know, I'm not going to go off and drive a car, but I can cook for myself, I can clean for myself, and even if I have difficulties, I might just, you know, ask for help. I didn't see that was there, so, and yeah, I do use the word see. Like, I'll say, I watched that on television last night. Now, it's quite obvious I didn't watch it, I heard it, but why, you know, it sounds bizarre. I heard that show, unless I'm talking about a radio show, so it's okay to use normal words in front of us. And I can tell things, you know, I'm very perceptive. Like, right now, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that it is raining, is pouring outside, and the wind is incredibly strong. And that's the thing I can tell just by listening to it. I don't need to see the rain coming down. Now, if you ask me about clouds and things like that, you're right, I have no idea about that, but everything else is pretty much normal. So, I rambled, which is something that a lot of blind people tend to do. We like to talk a lot. Probably stereotypical, but most of us that I've met do. But seriously, if you have questions that you want to ask, please ask them. And don't worry about offending me. I mean, just, you know, don't say, hey, you stupid blind bitch! You know, yeah, that's gonna offend me. But if you really want to know something, ask and I will answer. I don't have a problem. In any case, thank you for watching or listening. And I hope to talk to you soon.